I'm Erlinda Patterson, and welcome to Empowering Voices. Hi, Morris. How are you?
Wonderful, Linda. Wonderful.
Great. Morris Adams is our co host today. We're excited about having you, Morris. Thank you.
I'm excited to be here.
Good. We're going to have a great show, Morris. We have an exciting lady with us today. She is a senator and has for many years worked for us, the people. And right now, her name is Senator Connie Leyva. Let's say hello to her, Morris.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Doris. Hi,
Howard.
Erlinda.
Hi. Senator, I'm so happy that you're with us today. We have some wonderful things to say about you. You've been in Chino for
you're
many
great.
years, even as a
Almost
child,
my whole life.
your
Yes,
whole life,
yes.
your whole life.
Really my whole life.
So you know what our people need.
Yes. I like to think so, but they also tell me what they need, which is
Oh,
important.
good. Good.
That was one of the questions that I wanted to know. How do you find out what the people need? And you're telling us that they tell you.
Yes, that's a great question, Morris. So people tell me in the grocery store, I run into people, they share their ideas there. People email me, people text me, people call me, they call my staff. We have meetings. So there's lots of ways that the constituents communicate with me, which is great.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. So you've been for many years now a politician for us, the people, and right now you are a senator.
Yes.
How long have you been a
My
senator?
seventh year in the Senate. 7 years. I was elected in 2014. Prior to that, I worked in the labor movement representing grocery store workers for 20
Yes.
years.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're kind of en route up to the presidency, right?
I am very happy being a senator. I just want to be a good senator and do the best I can for my constituents.
Well, don't you forget us when you get there.
Never.
Let me ask you a side question. Should that
Yes.
ever happen, would you be a great president?
I would be a fantastic and
All
great
right.
president. All about the people. I will never forget where I came from, which I think happens sometimes.
Yes.
Right.
I want to interject the thought here. This is the first time I heard, when we're going to interview someone, talk to them, you like to do a little research. And I heard names such as Pomona. I heard Chino, San Bernardino, Colton. Those are names that they just seem like they're never there. And you brought them out.
Yes, those are all of my people.
Yes.
So
So many
district
cities.
runs from
Bloomington.
Pomona. Yes. The district runs from Pomona, where I'm at right now in our district office, all the way out to San Bernardino.
Wow.
A lot of people that you're covering.
A million
A lot
people.
of territory. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
and as I
wonderful.
said, I'm always proud to work with you, and
Thank you, Linda.
always know Connie, Senator Connie Leyva, that you have my help, our help in whatever it
Thank
is you get into. Okay,
Yes.
I appreciate that from both of you. Thank you.
always,
Call me
we have your
Connie.
back.
I always tell people I won't always be a senator, but I'll always be Connie.
Yes. Well, today we're going to discuss actually three bills.
Mhm.
And one of them, let's start with SB 523, Morris. What do you think?
That sounds wonderful. Let's go with that. Mhm.
All
Yeah.
right. So tell us about this bill, SB 523.
Absolutely. So this is the Contraceptive Equity Act of 2021. This bill expands on some prior legislation to make sure that access to contraceptives or birth control is accessible to everyone. Right now, sometimes it's too expensive, and we want to make sure that everyone, women, men, transgender people, everyone has access to equitable and affordable contraceptive care. One of the things that is going to be covered if this bill gets signed into law is vasectomies. So, I will just say it how it is. Most of the time, birth control is up to the woman. We're the ones who have to be responsible for it.
Mhm.
But vasectomies can handle that situation as well. The problem now is sometimes it's a little too costly for people. So this
Yes.
bill would cover that, and it would be free. There would be no copays. So it's just one of the things. And other contraceptives that people may have had a hard time obtaining, will be able to obtain them over the counter. You'll be able to get a year's supply of your birth control, so you're not going back and forth all the time, because that sometimes can be inconvenient. Even a 3-month supply can be a little inconvenient. So this bill would cover all of those things.
Wow.
I want to say, wow.
Yes.
I do have a question. Should the bill
Yes.
get passed, the announcement, the information, how does that get out to the person who needs it? How is that going to occur?
Morris, that is such a good question. And that is something, candidly, that we a lot of times struggle with. How do we make sure that people know that? So healthcare providers would be required to let their patients know that this is accessible for them. Pharmacists will let people know that this is accessible for them. And then any other way that we could get it out to people. But I will tell you, I think that is always the challenge of our time with anything. How do we make sure people know that they have this available to them? But those are just 2 examples of how we'll get it out to people.
Thank
Will
you.
there be any public service announcements? Will there be budget for that?
That's a great question. The bill does not include a budget for public service announcements, but you just gave me a great idea. We
Yes.
can actually record things
Yes.
at our Senate office, and so I could actually hook up with a Spectrum or an AT&T and do a public service announcement. So if it gets signed into law, I think I just might do that. Good idea, Erlinda.
Very good. I told you we have your back.
Yes, I appreciate that. That's a great idea.
Go ahead, Morris. You had a question. I'm sorry.
No, I was just applauding you. Thank you. You did it again.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. So, back in the day when I was a young woman, okay, there was a lot of health departments, and you could see lines and lines of young women going to get birth control pills.
Mm-hmm.
Condoms weren't the thing then, but it was the birth control pills, and it stopped.
Yeah.
The funding stopped.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of health departments that were closed.
Yes. Well, President Obama did all of us a big favor by making birth control free, birth control pills, the implant, but not everything was included. So that is part of what this bill would do would be to close the circle on things that weren't included. But you know what? We forget that. And as a woman myself, when I've had my prescription refilled every couple of months, I always tell the pharmacist, thank you, President Obama. He made it free. I have no copay, because I think it's important to give kudos to the person who did the work. And people forget that because of him. And you should be able to choose when you incorporate a family into your life. And having access to birth control makes that happen.
Absolutely.
Yes. I want to say, when we think of taxes, we think of money and we think of what we have to pay. After reading your bill, when I think of taxes, I see that you are the empowerment and you are the force that goes behind the money that we sent.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Morris. That's a very nice compliment.
Yes, absolutely, Morris. I see you really studied up.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Because we did not have a lot of birth control out there for a period of time. We had an expanded population increase in babies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Or
you know what? I honestly think recently I've read some statistics that during the pandemic, actually less babies were born, and that it's not necessarily about birth control. It's about families really deciding that they don't know if they can afford to have children or have more than one child. So it's going to present some issues as we all get older, and the workforce may or may not be there. So that is, I would say, that's a bigger issue that we need to look at and figure out, why is it that young people today don't want to have children, or they're only having one child? So I think that I think we're in a different space, and in society we're always evolving. But I just read a study. It was very interesting on the future of work if families continue to shrink.
I see. Because I hear more and more um, young mothers, parents, they want less children.
Yeah,
I guess it's due to society, the increase in monies that need to be spent for families.
it's expensive.
Yes,
Raising,
it's very expensive.
yes.
Now, where does family, let's see, where does the Planned Parenthood come in on this?
They support the bill, if that's what you mean by where they come in. They're very supportive of the bill. They want to make sure that people have access to affordable or free contraceptives. Absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful. Did you have a question, Morris?
No, I was.
Okay. So let's go. I think that kind of explains itself. Thank you so much for sharing
You're
that
welcome.
particular bill with us. Now, SB 309. Let's talk about school finance.
There we go.
Let's do that. My young granddaughter is going to go to college, or is going to college already now. She just graduated, but she's been going to college, during her senior year as well. But it's $30,000 a year at Cal Baptist. $30,000 a year.
Crazy. Yeah.
And if she didn't have some kind of like the Cal grant and the different, grants that are available, she could never afford to even think about it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So from 30,000, now it's like 9,000.
Wow. That's
Wow.
a
Jail.
big difference.
And that still is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yes.
So we have a lot of kids that don't foresee a future in college.
Yeah.
So this bill will help.
Well, SB 309 kind of solves a different problem.
Okay.
I am working on a different bill with the Assembly, AB 1456, and it does address the Cal Grant issue and expanding that. But what SB 309 does, it is really an equity bill. There's something in our education system in high school called the A through G credits. And these are specific English, math, and science classes that you have to take in order to be accepted to a UC or a CSU. Well, as the chair of education, it came to my attention that less than 50% of the high schools in the state of California offer A through G credits. So that means you can have a student who is getting straight A's, doing everything right, but because these classes were not offered, they will not be able to get into a UC or a CSU. And as you can imagine, most of the classes that are the schools that are lacking those classes are schools that are in Black and brown areas. So to me, it's a real equity issue. So what this bill would do, it's got a $200 million price tag. It's very expensive, but we have the money this year. And this would provide for funding to train the teachers to make sure that because there's specific teachers that teach these courses, to make sure that these teachers are at these schools, and also just making people aware. Morris, to your point a minute ago about how do people know, my dad and mom didn't know anything about A through G. Most parents don't know anything about A through G. I didn't know, but fortunately my kids were at a high school where they got them and I didn't need to know. So this is what I love about my job. We can find out that there's a problem and then we can try and fix the problem. So
Wonderful.
this is just to me a huge, huge equity issue.
And that's I just as a pat on the back, but it's one that's deserved. That's what when I looked at everything you're doing, that's what you do. You research, you find the problem, and you address it.
Thank
and
you.
This one here is really, really important. I want to say I was so fortunate to have found that out, got my daughter into a school that was able to address those issues. And then there were so many people who didn't know, and you just are solving the problem again.
You.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. This is, like I said, it's a fun part of my job. And I'm not going to lie, I was just outraged when I found out that that was an issue, that half of our students don't have access to these A through G credits. Oh my God, talk about setting them up for failure. How about we make sure that every student has the opportunity to be the best that they can be? So I think we have a real shot. People love this bill, meaning people who vote on it. We have the money in the budget. So I think we have a real shot of getting this signed into law, which would just make my heart sing.
That's
Please.
wonderful. That is that, I'm really, really impressed as well, Morris, on what Senator Connie Leyva is doing.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
it's like I said in the beginning, it's for us, the people,
Yes.
it really is, especially when I hear about, my granddaughter's education bill is $30,000 a year.
Oh, so, and we have another bill that we're working on that will help with that.
Yes, good. Maybe it'll help the other grandson when he gets up there. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So, is there anything else you want to share on that bill, Connie?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
So, and it's a straightforward bill that will just, to me, be life-changing for so many young people.
Okay. Now let's go, if you don't mind, Morris, we're going to go to the next bill, okay?
Yes, child credit.
Okay, let's go to SB 246. And Connie, Senator, please let us know a little bit about that.
So this is another bill that I am super passionate about. So childcare. If you are a working parent, especially a working mom, you need a place to take your child so that you know that they are safe and that you can go to work. We right now have something that it's a bifurcated system on rates. So depending on where your child care center falls, you are reimbursed through the RMR or the SRR, neither of which are adequate, which means we are not paying our providers enough to reimburse them and then to also pay better wages to our child care workers. So this issue I am incredibly passionate about as well. These mostly women, 98% of child care centers are run by women, have stayed open during the pandemic, have been there for us. And candidly, it was left out of the governor's budget, and I was outraged and wrote him a letter and got 27 of my colleagues to sign on to it, that if we do not do rate reform and increase what we are reimbursing these child care centers, we are going to lose more. We lost 3,700 child care centers during the pandemic. So not only does this hurt the woman who wants to go or needs to go back to work, it hurts the woman who ran the business and she is now out of work. And ultimately, it harms our children. So I always say, don't tell me what your priorities are. Show me where you spend your money and I will tell you what your priorities are.
Yes.
And if we are not going to raise these rates, these reimbursement rates, then we are saying to our children that they truly are not our future. So we are working very hard to make sure this gets into the budget. I know that the Senate and the Assembly have both set aside $1 billion, and we're going to be presenting that to the governor, and we hope that he does the right thing.
That's wonderful. That does impact not only our children, the homes, the families.
Yes.
Every one of us.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
so there's a lot of suffering there.
Yeah.
And the future definitely suffers.
Yes, the future. Yes. And I just think, they've referred to the pandemic as a she session because so many women have been put out of work. And part of the reason they can't return to work is because they don't have someplace where they can take their child and back to work. So this is just, to me, is paramount to making sure that we have a recovery that includes everyone.
Absolutely. So Morris, is there something you'd like to add to this before I ask Connie to give us a little quick rundown on what we talked about today?
Yeah, there is only one thing. I said, this bill here sounds wonderful. I want to say fantastic. And if there's anything that you can do to protect it so that no one comes and hacks it or takes it aside,
yes,
please
you're right.
do that. Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
You're right, Morris. That's one of the things that concerns me is sometimes bills are written and then someone else comes in and changes the whole thing.
Well, don't you worry. It's my bill and it's my baby, no pun intended. Nothing's going to happen to this bill. It does have to go through committee, and sometimes they want to change it a little bit. But people are pretty united on this and on childcare. So you're exactly right, though, Morris. Sometimes people want to hijack your bill. I'm not going to let that happen.
Good. Well, I really enjoyed these few minutes that we've had with you, Connie.
Me too.
Senator, you are an amazing person.
Yes.
You are a great leader. And like I said, I'm sure that Morris and I would be delighted, to help you if you ever need us for anything. And if you ever want to do a PSA, public service announcement, we have the people for you.
Well, I will probably look both of you up for that. And I thank
Yes.
you, Erlinda and Morris, for spending a little time with me and just being interested in what your legislature is doing. Because really, like I tell people, you pay my salary. I work for you. So always call on Team Leyva and let us know how we can be helpful.
And we will be there for you as well. All
Thank you.
right. Thank you so much, Morris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, for
Thank you.
being with us today. Listen, this has been Empowering Voices, your television program. And we were very fortunate to have the wonderful Senator Connie Leyva. So until next time, this is Erlinda Patterson and
Morris Adams.
and we were blessed with having the wonderful Senator Connie Leyva. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, take care.